calling Jeremy Green, tell him we found his black shirt that was up now. And she dialed Calvin and Peggy. They never did answer. Then she called back. And she always told her she called by mistake. But Peggy's voice was extremely raspy. She said she was dizzy. And they said they were trying to be here this evening. Also, Carl Keys made it back from Tennessee, but he hurt himself. Hurt his back. I don't know if the rest of you have any kind of back problems or not, but my back, it goes out on me at times for no reason. We've been working on the house for the last 3 weeks, I guess it is, painting and rebuilding and all this, and I walk out in the backyard and bend over and pick up a 1x6, and my back goes out. I can't explain it. It does this every so often, and right now I've got a back brace on. But, you know, our backs are funny. We can't do anything for back problems. You just about have to quit working anything until it gets straightened out. And I know other people have those problems, so let's remember Carl in our prayers too as we go to our Lord for today. We're going to talk about a subject that's a little different, and where it comes from may seem unusual until we get into it, and I think we can see where it is. Jesus Christ goes in John chapter 3, beginning at verse 1. He goes to talk to a man named Nicodemus comes to talk to Jesus. And in this we find 3 things mentioned that we may not have paid attention to as we went through it before. Through verse 8. It said there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Jesus by night and said, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God. For no man can do these miracles that thou hast done except God be with him. Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I have said unto thee, you must be born again. You must be born of the Spirit. Marvel not that I say unto you, you must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it came, and whither it goes. And so in each one of that is born of the Spirit. I want to propose that in this one paragraph, or this is a paragraph that if you read it in paragraph form from the Bible, that he mentions one kingdom, the kingdom of God. But he alludes to or suggests a second kingdom. And that is the kingdom of the world, that which is born of flesh is flesh. That which is born of flesh is living in the kingdom of the world. I propose that we have a little bit farther to go on that. Nicodemus answers and said unto him, How can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and do receive not our witnesses. If I have told you earthly things, and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man has ascended up from heaven, but that which came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. I want to say that Jesus here is suggesting a third kingdom. And that's the kingdom of God. That's the kingdom of heaven. So we see here that he mentions one kingdom directly, and that's the kingdom of God, which we understand is referring to the church, the body of Christ. And then he refers to that which is born of flesh that which is born of the flesh is flesh, referring to an earthly kingdom. The kingdom that's here upon earth that is really has Satan as its king. And then finally in verse 13 he suggests another kingdom, that being the kingdom of heaven. For he makes the statement, and no man has ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. Three kingdoms. We'll look at those three kingdoms today. This has been suggested, and different preachers have used the thought in the past, and the one I go back to that probably first used the information in that way was a man by the name of Alexander Campbell. He refers to as these three kingdoms as the kingdom of nature, the kingdom of grace, and the kingdom of glory. Three kingdoms. Well, what is a kingdom? Do we all understand what we're talking about when we're talking about a kingdom? Well, a kingdom has to have an area to be dominant over, such as the king of the United States, which we don't have. But that's what a king would be. He would be over an area. He would not only be the ruler over that area, but he would have subjects to rule over, or citizens that are within that kingdom. Let's take a first look at the kingdom of the world. This kingdom of the world is a physical kingdom. It was created by God. Genesis chapter 1 says, and God said, and it was so. We enter into this kingdom of the world through birth. We have a physical birth, which puts us there, and it's impossible to be a part of the kingdom of this, a part of the citizen of this world, unless we're born into it. Now, I know we're getting to that point in time in our scientific knowledge that we're cloning animals. I don't know that there's been a cloned man yet, or a cloned human. There'll always be a question of that situation when it does, if, and I do stress if it ever comes that a human is cloned, does he have a soul? That's a big question, because they're not born in the same way. But if we look back and realize that that Adam was not born in the same way, and neither was Eve. They were created. It's by design that these citizens of this country are here, and the way the world is fixed up, that they would reproduce themselves. This is the first commandment of God. Now, I'm not talking about the greatest commandment. I'm talking about the first commandment. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it said, and God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. That was a command. It was not a suggestion. God put man on here on earth to replenish the earth, to build up the earth, to put people upon the earth. And they were to multiply. It wasn't for two people to get married and not have children. That's the intent of marriage, or part of it. He says, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. God put man in charge. And man was to reproduce. Man was to populate the earth. In other words, they support their own selves through the reproduction of humans. The Bible tells us, and we discussed it some in the Bible study this morning, that Satan is the king of the prince of the world. Prince referring to king in many situations. John chapter 12, verse 31 says, now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. He's even called the God of this world. Again, 2 Corinthians 4:4 said, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine upon them. This scripture struck me when I was a younger man, when I was early as a Christian. I used to battle with the thought and concept in my mind of what is the image of God. I battled back and forth with that for many a time, because I know through my studies, through my historical studies and through other things, I know that the average height of a man of the round table, King Arthur and his round table, the average height of a knight in his armor was only 5'5". The average height of a man today is 5'9", 5'10". So I think in my mind that's very finite, that can't go much farther than what's right in front of me, as most of us are. What's the image of man? We've changed. Man's changed considerably. So what's the image of man? Then I come across this verse in my study of the Bible, which overrides every bit of everything we've seen, of my thoughts were about the image of man. It specifically states here, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God. When God created man in his image, he created him Christ-like. Because Christ is the image of God, and we should shine in them. In other words, it has nothing to do with that physical aspect of the world. It had to do with the spiritual aspect, to be Christ-like. So how did God create Adam and Eve? How did he create man? He created them Christian. The word Christian was not used back then, but he created them Christ-like. His citizens, we're getting back to Satan here now, the citizens of the world are his children. And who are those people? You know, we kind of think sometimes, there's a lot of people in this world, and when we've got the church, we know that we're God's children, but who are Satan's children? It's a hard saying. Everyone that is disobedient to God's word is a child of Satan. Because they follow Satan. They're a follower of Satan. They're a citizen of his kingdom. Because Jesus said you can't follow God and Satan both. You can't have manna and Satan both. You're either on. You can't straddle the fence. You're either one or the other. And that's the only two choices we've got. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2 says, "For in time past ye," that means us, "walks according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of air." That's Satan. "The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience." Who does Satan work through? He works through the children of disobedience. Those who are not following the word of God and doing what God has commanded them to do. This world, the physical world which follows Satan, is in darkness. Think about the leadership of our country. They're stumbling over their own feet. They don't know what direction to go in because they're not following the Word of God. They're following their own thoughts, their own thinking in their mind, their own reality which is not there. That's where the country is headed. That's where the world is headed. But this kingdom is followed, Satan is followed by those people who are disobedient to God. The Bible specifically states that. 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. He said, and we know that we are of God, and the whole world lies in wickedness or darkness. So the kingdom of this world, the kingdom that all of us are born into, we're not a part of that kingdom. You remember Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." And as being Christ-like and following Christ, then our kingdom is not of this world. We're not children of disobedience. We're not children who are following in the ways of the world. And we really have to work at that. It's an ongoing life process that we work on following God and not being disobedient. Well, if our kingdom's not of this world, then what is our kingdom? It's the kingdom of God. It's the kingdom which Jesus was mentioning to Nicodemus. It too was created by God. Let's go back to the Bible and look at the creation of the church, of what it's talking about here. In John chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning was the Word." Jesus has been here from the beginning of time. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Now again, we're talking about the physical world there from that point of view, but let's look at the kingdom of Christ. Let's look at the kingdom that we are a part of. In John 1:14, it says, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld His glory, the glory of the only begotten Son of the Father, full of grace and truth." This was the beginning of the church as we had when Jesus Christ came and took on human form. His purpose for being here was to die on the cross and save us from sin. So the church was began. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 18 and 19, He built His kingdom. Now, people always refer back to this. They say, well, in Matthew 16, 18, 19, He calls it my church. Well, He also calls it my kingdom. "And I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind upon earth shall be bound up in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. I will build my church, and I'll give you the keys to my church," or to my kingdom. What are keys used for? To open doors. To open entryways. It could be a gate. It could be a door. A cabinet. But it's to open up, to allow you access to what's inside. So Peter used those keys on the day of Pentecost when he preached the gospel of Christ. And in fact, that first day. But Jesus said that He built His kingdom. That's the kingdom we're a part of. That's the second kingdom I'm talking about. And you know how we get into that kingdom? We must be born into that kingdom. Just as we have to be born into the kingdom on earth, a physical kingdom, we have to be born into that kingdom. Well, we have to be born spiritually into this kingdom that we are a part of today. Again, go back and look at what Jesus said in John 3 and 5. It says, "Jesus answered and said, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God," or the church of Christ. Whichever name you want to use, it's the same place. But as with this physical kingdom, it's impossible. Not the physical kingdom, as with the physical kingdom. This kingdom that we become a part of, it's impossible to get into that kingdom unless you're born again. You have to be born spiritually into that kingdom. It's not something you can just say, well, I believe that there's a kingdom of God. And you're a part of that kingdom? No. Can a man and a woman get together and say, well, I think we'll have a child? They never have that child, but is that child ever going to be a part of that kingdom until he's born? No. You must be born into that kingdom, just like we must be born into the kingdom which we were a part of. Paul speaks of going through pains of birth. Now, he's not talking about his own physical birth, but he's talking about the spiritual birth of children and the pain he's went through because of them and because of what they have to go. Look what he said in Galatians chapter 4, verse 19. He said, "My little children, of whom I travaileth in birth again, until Christ be formed in you." In other words, he's going through pain and misery trying to get them born into this world. This kingdom of God, the church, and separating themselves from the things which are of the world. Again, it's just like the design of the physical world. The citizens of that world are designed to reproduce their own. We reproduce our own by teaching. It's a different concept than the physical birth. But two people get together. But in this birth, it doesn't have to be a man and a woman. Two men can get together, and this man can teach this man. And because of what he teaches him through the Word, the seed is planted, and it reproduces a Christian. If you plant the seed, the Word of God, it can only produce Christians. Christians can only be produced from the gospel of Christ, which is preached. Look what Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 23. other gospel. Wait a minute, it's not another gospel, but a perverted gospel. Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible seed that cannot be destroyed, seed that cannot be changed, but of incorruptible, by the word of God, which liveth and abideth forever. Do you know a whole lot of the foods we buy, or a whole lot of the seed that you buy today, will not continue to reproduce? They've radiated it. They've done things to it so that when it's planted, it produces one crop. You can't take that seed and plant it again from that corn and it reproduce new corn. Our scientists have done that, and I don't understand why. They radiate, they say it makes it for better food, but then it's not usable again. So you need this organic seed, original seed. The seed I mentioned this morning in Bible study that's in my refrigerator is organic seed. When you plant it, it produces corn, and then you can replant that and produce corn. Much of the seed today, we can't do that. Why? Because it's corrupted. The main reason why that seed was produced to start with or created by God can no longer be done because they've corrupted. It's corruptible seed. It's a perverted seed. Yeah, we can get food from it for 1 year, but from then on, we're in trouble. But we have the incorruptible seed. And if that incorruptible seed is planted, it will produce an incorruptible soul that is a part of the kingdom of God, the church. Righteousness can only produce righteousness. Perversion produces perversion. So if a perverted gospel is taught, or if a perverted preaching is done, then the only result that's going to come from that perversion is corruptible seed. Look at what 1 John says, verse 2 and 29. It says, if you know that he is righteous, and we're talking about Jesus Christ, and we know that. If we know that he is righteous, you know that everyone that does righteousness is born of him. That's the only way we can be. We can't, this righteousness is talking about is we in ourselves cannot be righteous. We can only be righteous through the blood of Jesus Christ, which was shed on the cross. A corruptible world or a corruptible seed has its own righteousness. Faith and love produce children. Now think about what I'm talking about in the physical world. Faith and trust in each other, a man and a woman, and the love they have for each other, in most situations, produce children. Children that are like their parents. Faith and love of a Christian produces children, produces offspring. 1 John chapter 5, verse 1 said, whosoever believes that Jesus Christ is born, that Jesus is the Christ, is born of God. Faith is the beginning. And everyone that loveth him that loveth him also that begot him. So through this love, through this process of becoming a Christian, we don't only love Jesus Christ, but we love God. Christianity is reproduced by spreading the word. And that's the only way that it will be reproduced. Until we decide that we're going to spread the word like we should, then reproduction of that is not occurring. Being in the kingdom, we take the characteristics of that kingdom. It's only natural that if a country continues the way it is, that it begins to act. Let's take the United States of America. As we have leadership, that leadership the people begin to be more like the leadership. So as we go forth in our lives, we have to consider who we vote for if we vote for people. Consider if that's the type of leadership we want for our country. Think of the physical world that I'm saying Satan is the king of. Think of the characteristics of Satan. Galatians 5:19-20 says, now the works of the flesh are manifested. And these are adultery. Oh, it's an affair. It's not adultery. It's an affair. You can't be satisfied with just one person. That's the world. Fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness. Dress and act the way you want to. It don't matter. It's in the eyes of the beholder, so you can act and do what you want to. That shouldn't bother them. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, immolation, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. Think of all this of people of the world, people that are not part of the kingdom. I can't imagine any of these concepts that's in Galatians 5:19-20 being in the heart of a Christian. If it's there, then you're not exhibiting the characteristics of your kingdom. So with we being in the kingdom, then we exhibit characteristics of Jesus Christ. That's where the name comes from. Christian. Christ-like. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, peace, joy, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. No one can make you be that way. No one can stop you from being that way. We make those decisions ourselves. I read a question the other day. A gentleman wrote in and he asked the preacher, said, was the word Christian first used as a derogatory term? I've heard that concept, that the people were trying to insult the people in Antioch by calling them Christians. Christian means Christ-like. If you were a follower of someone, a lot of times that's added to the end of it. You know, you've heard people called Campbellites. We imitate the people who rule over us. And Jesus Christ rules over us. We are delivered from one kingdom to the other. And until we're delivered from one kingdom to another, we're still in the first kingdom. Colossians chapter 1, verse 13. And he has delivered us from the power of darkness and has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. And 1 Corinthians 15:25, he must reign till he has put all enemies under his feet. So our kingdom that we're part of will last as long as there is a place to be. The citizens of the kingdom are those who live in righteousness, those who do the things that we say. I mentioned this morning that we were adopted. Let's look at the scripture here, talking about our situation. It says, even though we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world, we were in that worldly kingdom. But when the fullness of time came, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law. That's the redemption of the Jews. That we might receive the adoption of sons. What happens when you receive the adoption of a son? And because you are sons, God has sent forth his Spirit of the Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Wherefore thou art no more a servant, but a son, and if a son, then an heir of God through Christ. We are a part of that kingdom, and we're a part of that kingdom and being fully recognized as a child of God. You can move from one kingdom to the other, but you can move back. Just because you become part of the kingdom of God, the Church of Christ, doesn't mean you're permanently saved. You can fall. You can fall back into that other. But let's talk about something different. Let's talk about that final kingdom. That final kingdom is yet to come. It's called the kingdom of heaven. It was created by God. Is that a surprise? It shouldn't be. Jesus is there preparing a place for us right now. Right now, Jesus is in the process of preparing a place for you to live eternally in heaven. It says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go and prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. Think of that kingdom he's preparing. No more tears. No more pain. No more suffering. No more having to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning because it's going to be daylight our minds will be in heaven. Now some people worry about, well, where are we going to be till heaven comes? It don't make any difference. It don't make any difference where you're going. You're going to be at rest. You're going to be waiting, and the next time that your spiritual eyes will be open, you'll be with God in heaven. And that's the part that's important. In fact, we cannot become a part of that heaven without a rebirth. Because corruption will take on incorruption. And again, the nature of it is to support itself. And of course, God is the king. Satan was the king of this physical world. Jesus is the king of the church. God is the king of heaven. The Bible tells us in the book of Revelation that the time will come when Jesus will take the church and give it to the Father. He'll deliver it to the Father. That's in Revelation. But look what it says in 1 Corinthians chapter. I only want verse 24. It's not there. I've got the wrong scripture there for some reason. But in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 24, it's not up here. It says, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom of God, that's the church, even to the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and all power. The citizens of this kingdom, which will be heaven, are those who have lived righteously to the end. Paul said, I have finished my course. They are delivered from one realm to another. Of course, as I said, some will see death, some won't. 3 kingdoms. We were physically born into one of nature. We chose to be born spiritually